Noch jemand? Ladies. Krita Agasam, who was an offender, Tam Anto Krishna, Prarudantam, with a crying attitude, Akshini, his two eyes, Kashantam, rubbing, Agyatmashini, from whose eyes the blackish ointment was distributed all over his face with tears. Swapanina, with his own hand, Udvikshamanam, who was seen in the attitude by Mother Yashoda. Bhaya Vikhvala Ikshanam, whose eyes appeared distressed because of such fear of his mother. Haste, by the hand, Grihitva, catching, Bishayanti, Mother Yashoda was threatening him. Avagurat, and thus she very mildly chastised him. Translation: when caught by Mother Yashoda, Krishna became more and more afraid and admitted to being an offender. As she looked upon him, she saw that he was crying, his tears mixing with the black ointment around his eyes. And as he rubbed his eyes with his hands, he smeared the ointment all over his face. Mother Yashoda, catching her beautiful son by the hand, mildly began to chastise him. So this is the, as we said, this was the meditation scene for this particular pastime, how she, Mother Yashoda, caught him. And we spoke yesterday a little bit about the beginning of the Lila, why, how Mother Yashoda, anybody remembers actually what did we speak yesterday? Just, you were not there. Heidi? What did we speak about yesterday, like about Mother Yashoda and all these things? What she would wear, yes. But this is exactly. And Prabhupada gives it in purport. Then is anybody wants to pursue this Vatsalya Rasa, this should be meditated on Mother Yashoda, sitting in the kitchen or standing in the kitchen, boiling milk in this beautiful yellow sari. And it's actually not yellow sari, it's kumkum. It's not in a kumkuma sari, it's a saffron color. And this color is made from the atashi tree. Atashi tree is the acacia tree. And from this tree, it produces the color, natural dye. And we'll also speak a little bit how Mother Yashoda also had the natural clothes. She would not buy clothes, manufactured in China from plastic bottles. She would actually have clothes, as Jiva Goswami said, Mother Yashoda would have a linen clothes. This is also natural. And we spoke a little bit about natural life yesterday, and how Mother Yashoda was seeing that all the servants and everybody in the house were busy preparing for Indra Puja. She thought, I will cook for Krishna myself, because she thought, I will make butter for Krishna because he goes to steal butter in the neighborhood, so that means that our butter is not good. So maybe I will make a special butter that he will not need to go. And this was the topic more or less about yesterday's. So today I have some additions or conclusions, which we didn't conclude yesterday. The question was, anybody remember the two questions we had from yesterday? Unanswered. The first question was about the wives and husbands in Goloka Vrindavan. Do the gopis actually have husbands or not? So I researched and I confirmed my theory, which is, I'm happy that I made it right, that the gopis actually have a notion or idea that husbands are there, but in reality, there is just an idea that they have husbands. And the husbands, they have an idea the gopis are their wives. Because it is said the rasa, this is Jiva Goswami said in one of the scriptures he wrote, that in Gopal Champu, that actually this husbands are actually Maika husbands. This is illusory husband. And that if you have a desire, because husband actually and wife means there's enjoyment there, there's attraction or physical attraction or whatever, material attraction between man and a woman. And therefore, if somebody has attraction towards materialistic woman, that person cannot have attraction to Krishna, cannot have Krishna prema. So these two are incompatible, which is technically called rasa basa. So therefore, no husbands. So do not worry. Second question was also unanswered. Anybody remembers the second question? Who was there? You were not there. Heidi? Behind me? What is behind me? Yes, the skin color of Madhya Yashoda. Because in the Shastra, here we read yesterday, the Madhya Yashoda had a color, her skin color was color of a fresh cloud, a blue lotus, actually, a blue lotus. So she has the same color skin as Krishna. So why is then on our pictures, especially ISKCON pictures, Yashoda is a different kind of color, completely light color? And the answer we did not know. And so I researched a little bit, and there was actually written by former Jadurani Mataji, now her name is Shamarani, reinitiated or whatever by Narayan Maharaj. She said she was one of the first devotees in ISKCON, 1967, and she was the first painter. She painted. So I was mentioning yesterday the picture where she painted Lord Nisibadev. The Prabhupada said, I want more blood in the picture. So sometimes, as we said, Prabhupada gave complete instruction, concrete instruction, how to do things. Sometimes he would just let it go, let it slide, as we say. So in particular, they asked her, how about why is Madhya Yashoda in ISKCON pictures colored light? And she said, Prabhupada personally instructed me, you should paint Madhya Yashoda golden color, golden Hautfarbe, golden skin color. Although, then she said later on, when she became disciple, or whatever you want to call it, Shiksha disciple of Narayan Maharaj, or even Diksha, he gave her name. Maharaj told her that the Yashoda's color is actually color of a dark blue lotus, and this is confirmed in the Shastras. And Maharaj was saying that actually we cannot say that Prabhupada was wrong, because he said each pure devotee has a different vision and different realization, and we cannot say every pure devotee is right, basically. This is an interesting concept in our Krishna consciousness. Very unlike to our materialistic concepts in the West. We think white is white, black is black, and that's it. You belong to this party, you don't belong to that party, and that's it. But in India, things are much more, mixing, and as as somebody mentioned, the roads in Vrindavan are crooked, because this is how the nature of Vrindavan is. We in the West, we liked everything like this, mathematics, squares, and who in the 90s, 80s, 70s, whoever lived in temple, he was Krishna conscious. Whoever doesn't live in temple, he's in Maya. Click, finished. Nowadays, this is much more organic, you can say. And we'll see today also speak a little bit about Narottam Das Thakur, how this particular thing was very much mixed to all kinds of directions, because this is the nature of devotion, of pure devotion. Because our Krishna has so many incarnations, so many expansions, that it's very difficult to say, oh, God is like this, God is like this. He has this aspect and that aspect, and this aspect and that aspect. Of course, some Siddhanta is there. We don't change the Siddhanta, but the point is this. And the example is of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he went to Jagannath Puri during the Rath Yatra. He saw Lord Jagannath. We know the form of Lord Jagannath is what is the name now? Log, like a wood log, basically, with something that looks like hands and big head, basically, and some kind of body. No hands, no legs, and big eyes, not really, face and so on. So, in the history of Jagannath, there are several books written on the history of Lord Jagannath. The Jagannath himself appeared to King Indradyumna in dreams, because Indradyumna made some little mess by wanting to worship the Lila Madhava, and when he saw him, Nila Madhava somehow disappeared and everybody was disappointed. Because Nila Madhava means he was made of the blue stone. It's a very beautiful stone. I forgot the name, in technical name of this stone. And I looked at it's still they're making deities of this stone. It's a very beautiful stone, blue. Do you remember this stone? I forgot the name of the stone. It's such a beautiful color, and especially I saw this Vishnu form, Vishnu and Lakshmi, made of this bluish stone. And when the rains, or they do the abhishek on the deities, and when the sun shines, it manifests so many different beautiful colors. It's a very beautiful stone, and deities are very beautiful. And therefore, the people said, whoever saw this stone, deities, not stone, of Nila Madhava, so enchanted, they could not, think about anything else. So King Indradyumna has heard about this stone from a long, long distance. So he sent his messengers all over the country to find out where is this Nila Madhava. It's a long story, but somehow this deity disappeared, Nila Madhava disappeared, and King Indradyumna was very depressed. He said, now this deity has disappeared from vision of everybody. What should I do? And in the night, the deity appeared to him and said, don't worry, I will, on such and such day, you wait in Puri at the ocean side, and the log will come, and this log will be me. You just give it to special carvers, tapatis they call it, and they will carve Jagannath. So Indradyumna was begeisterd, super happy, and he was waiting, and the log came that morning. So he brought it there, and he engaged the best carvers, and they all somehow broke their hands or cut their fingers, and nobody could do it. Then he found a special old, carver who came, and he said, I will do, but if you, I will carve behind this door, and you can just hear my chiseling every day, click, click, click. And I have to carve 14 days. And if you enter before these 14 days, I will disappear. So King Indradyumna was like every day listening at the door. And he, it's going. He was so eager to see the Lord. And then after one day, there was no more sound. And he was listening, nothing. And he would listen, nothing. So he will bring his, do you hear anything? Nothing. So he thought something's wrong. He opened the door, and the person who was carving said, well, I told you. And then it just disappeared. This was actually considered in one sense either incarnation of Krishna himself or a heavenly, architect, Vishwakarma. And so therefore this deity is so-called unfinished, where we have a Jagannath nowadays. And King Indradyumna was again very depressed. And in his dream, the Jagannath appeared. He said, no, he said, this is my eternal form here in Puri. This is how I look in Puri. He said, this is how please worship me. So Indradyumna was worshipping him, Anyway, so throughout the history, such a turbulent history of Jagannath Puri, it's unbelievable. All kinds of invaders, and Muslims invaded, actually, to be known, the evil invaders, 13 times in something like 100 years. 13 big invasions, meaning they broke the temple, the devotees have to hide the deities in the bushes, bury them in the ground, and so on and so forth. They ripped out everything, all the riches and everything. And then, besides this, of invasions of Muslims or whatever, also there was a time that the temple was overtaken by Buddhists. Jagannath Puri temple was a Buddhist temple. And Jagannath was the Buddhist deity. And Jagannath was standing there, and Buddhist, whatever, I don't know, this, whatever, how they worship the Jagannath, with vuvuzelas, And didgeridoo, And they thought that Jagannath is the incarnation of Lord Buddha. I'm just telling, this is just a little, how you say it, Umleitung. The point is that all different people, and also later on there was this, Jagannath was worshipped by the Shaktas, so he was like some kind of, so, and of course the devotees is worshipping as Vishnu or Narayan, but when Lord Chaitanya would see in Jagannath Puri during the Rath Yatra, this form of Jagannath, what would he see? He would see Krishna Vrajendra Nandan playing flute with a peacock feather, as we said yesterday. So the beauty is in the eye of a beholder, as they say in English. Meaning that according to our vision, according to our realization, we see the deities in such a certain way. So I just meant all these things to justify how Prabhupada had a vision of Yashoda having golden skin color. Because he instructed personally, I want Yashoda to be painted in a golden skin color. Although Shastra said otherwise. Anyways, she's like a bluish lotus flower. Although Prabhupada instructed Jadrani, Shamarani too. So, that's it. This is catching up from yesterday. So now we are going further. Any question about catching up from yesterday? I'm sorry?
Is it then not kind of speculation if I have the realization that she's looking like this, is not just like in the mind?
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, but Prabhupada is not an ordinary person. Prabhupada is an acharya. He's a Shakti-Avesh avatar, empowered by Krishna, and as such, these people are bringing the laws, or bringing how we should look at things, or giving us instruction how we should look at things. That, however, does not mean that we have to also think like Prabhupada. Like when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Murari Gupta, his, you can say, village neighbor, to why you worshiping Ram and Lakshman and Hanuman? He had the deities. Even nowadays, these deities are there. It's very ecstatic deities, actually. It's very close to ISKCON, walking distance, isn't it? You went with your motorcycle, or no? And so Murari said, okay, I will worship, because he was very much devoted to Lord Chaitanya. He said, I will worship Krishna, Radha and Krishna Vrindavan. I will not worship anymore. So in the evening he would go to sleep, and he couldn't sleep all night. He said, how can I give up worship of Raghunath? So Lord Chaitanya came in the morning and said, so Murari, how was the worship of Radha and Krishna? And he said, I will commit suicide. And he said, why? He said, I cannot give up the worship of Raghunath, of Ram, and Lakshman, and Hanuman, and Sita. So then Lord Chaitanya said, he quoted this famous saying by Lord Ram, blessed is the servant who never leaves his master, and blessed is the master who never leaves his servant. So, meaning that if you have your, svarup, or your particular taste to see a certain way, or to worship Krishna, if it's in your heart, Sita Ram, Lakshmana, Hanuman, that's what it is. But as a general instruction, or general, you can say, guidance for the ISKCON, which belongs to the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, our Ishta Devata, our desirable goal is to reach Sri Vrindavan Dham and worship Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. And that's why we have gurus. We can say Guru Maharaj. I've seen just one humorist. There was the one Bhakti Swami gave once lecture, and he said one devotee wrote to me. I think, that she had a dream of Radharani, and he said, I don't want to offend any nation, but he said, always I get letters like this from Russia. He said, I never got anybody from Holland to tell me, I was dreaming about Radharani. So there are some people who have a natural, more sentimental but this may be nice, but at the same time it could be speculation of the mind. So therefore we have to confirm with the spiritual master always. I had a dream of Radharani, what does it mean? And he would say, well, it's nice. Just keep on, cutting vegetables in the kitchen. But sometimes you may have actual dreams or significant things, and, this is different. So therefore we need a sadhu sangha, guru, shastra, and sadhu. If it's confirmed by the shastra, our visions or our realizations, is it confirmed by guru or is it confirmed by sadhu? Ask a senior devotee, what do you think about this? And they will say, I think you should just cool down. Cool down with your austerities, eat some more ghee, and everything will be fine. As once Jayapataka Swami, very young devotee, I think he was still Bhakta Gordon, asked Prabhupada, I've heard this, I read this, that he said, Prabhupada, if Krishna is in every atom, andantarasta paramanuche antarastam. So every atom in this whatever I walk, and I'm also made of atoms. So Krishna is in my body everywhere, and these atoms, and we are stepping on Krishna. How is this? How should I think about it? And Prabhupada says, just eat lots of prasadam and it will go away. So guru is sometimes very important. We may have some extraordinary realization in our own mind. As I always say, my favorite realization when I was 6 months in the movement, I thought, I was maybe 1 month in the movement. And I thought within 6 months, the most, I'll become a pure devotee. 6 months, no longer. Because in your mind, I'm doing great. I'm chanting, I'm not interested in material world. So therefore we have gurus, we have senior devotees to instruct us, to help us make progress. Yes, Ananda Krishna Prabhu.
Concerning this color mother you showed us, I think maybe both is true. It doesn't mean that maybe this is subjective. People in spiritual world, they can actually change colors, and maybe sometimes mother shoulder shows a special color in some certain situation, and Prabhupada maybe preferred or liked this very much. Sometimes Prabhupada doesn't give whole explanations why he says certain things.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be necessarily contradictory.
That's what Maharaj said. That's what Narayan Maharaj said, that Prabhupada as a pure devotee, this is true also. It's not true, because he's a pure devotee. Sometimes you have contradictions between acharyas. One acharya said this is all pure devotees, but it's somehow all true. In this book called, I forgot the name in Sanskrit, The Astonishment or something, Krishna, but Krishna disguises himself as a doctor, and he goes to Radharani's house, because Radharani was sick, and he disguised himself as an old Ayurvedic doctor, or female even doctor, I'm not sure. And then, how could you recognize Krishna? But Krishna somehow disguised himself, and he walks in, I'm a doctor, and So, spiritual world is an amazing place, as we said yesterday, so we should, again, not try to impose. As Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. That we think this is how it is. This is, Prabhupada. Don't chant this way. I heard this. There was a time in the late 90s. They became very popular to correct everybody. You are not pronouncing properly. It's not Shri Advaita Gadar is Shri Advaita. It's not Advaita, Advaita. Or whatever your Samsara Dava, also there's some things with incorrect. Everybody has to be really, this is not pronouncing like this, especially in this zone, particularly Germany and the other areas here, Scandinavia was very heavy. Don't say this, don't, it's not proper. Everything has to be. But then we see, this is not actually so important, because as Prabhupada says, sometimes they ask, Prabhupada, I'm not pronouncing proper Sanskrit, and Prabhupada says, don't worry, Krishna knows who is calling. Krishna knows you. When I joined one devotee, he told me, American devotee, was my bhakta leader. He said, you have to pronounce every word of the Maha Mantra properly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And Hare Rama. I was thinking, this is not proper, But I'm young devotee. So Krishna knows who is calling. Don't worry about it. As we were talking yesterday, how who was not supposed to do this? Yeah, but we told to one devotee not to do it. Who was in the lecture? Who was it? We told him, don't do it while eating. Anyways, Madhu Mangal is doing this while eating, making sound, and everybody's laughing. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a description of a devotee who would entertain Lord Chaitanya by singing Hare Krishna mantra in a funny tunes. And Lord Chaitanya would laugh. I would die to hear this funny tunes. What is the funny tune that they were singing? Lord Chaitanya accepted it. So it was funny. Anyways, so let's go back to the pastime. Sanjay, do you know the tune? Yes. Terrible. This is what you should think. Terrible. It's terrible to leave His divine grace to take initiation with somebody else. This is like absolutely terrible. Do not do it. Not encouraged. We accept it because everybody has a free will to do whatever they like. But I'm just saying this quote from Ramachandra: "Blessed is the servant who never leaves his master." So what kind of servant is this? You leave your master, go to another master. Terrible. Loyalty is very important. We stick. If Prabhupada didn't come, who would have given you? There's this, Japataka Swami wrote this song, Yadi Prabhupada na hoito. You know this song? Anybody knows? There's a song by I think Vasudev Ghosh, I'm not sure exactly. He wrote Yadi Gora na hoito. He said, if Gora didn't come, if Lord Chaitanya didn't come, what would happen from us? Who would have given us the biggest treasure of the spiritual life, the pure love of Radha and Krishna, if Gora didn't come? So Japataka Maharaj, in a similar mood, wrote Yadi Prabhupada na hoito. If Prabhupada didn't come, who would have given us anything in the spiritual life? Anything. So, no, I have no sympathy, actually. Zero. For people who leave Prabhupada. They can do their life, but... Yeah, to be disciples of Prabhupada. This is a different story. If somebody is initiated by Prabhupada and then you go to somewhere else, initiated by somebody else, this is inexcusable to me. No sympathy. Zero. And I have right to say it. No sympathy. Yes? What else do you want to say? We should not offend or whatever, but nowadays everything goes. No, this doesn't go. Ever. Nowadays or yesterday or tomorrow, we don't do this. So, we are going weiter. So, Mother Yashoda was churning butter. While she was churning butter, Lord Krishna, desiring to drink the milk of her breast, appeared before her. And in order to increase the transcendental pleasure, he caught hold of the churning rod and began to prevent her from churning. The story there is when Krishna was sleeping. Krishna was actually sleeping, and Mother Yashoda would churn butter. And then Krishna woke up, and the first thing he thought is, I'm hungry. And children, they have no diplomacy thing, oh, let her finish first. No, I'm hungry, I want to eat right now. He doesn't know what this churning means. She's moving something, some rope. I'm hungry, I want to eat right now. So he came and he stopped this thing what she was doing. Hungry. So Mother Yashoda then embraced Krishna. She took him in her laps, allowed him to sit down on her lap, and began to look upon her face with great love and affection. We spoke about the day before when Mother Yashoda would give breast milk for Krishna to drink, and Krishna would smile. You know, little baby mouth full of milk, you know. And then he would have a few teeth, 2 teeth here, white, and Mother Yashoda would float in transcendental bliss. Every child, when you see a child with 2 teeth, you know, you think, isn't it another? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a... When you see child, you think, wow, this is the cutest thing in the 3 worlds. And then what to speak, huh? Exactly, exactly. Imagine, and Yashoda sees these teeth, and oh, this is unbelievable. But she's swimming in the ocean of prema, Mother Yashoda, when she sees this. So, Mother Yashoda was giving milk to Krishna to drink, and then what happened at that very moment, as always, sometimes, you know, in our devotional service, everything is going well, and we think, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. You know, I'm going to do book distribution the rest of my life. I'm staying in Simachalam the rest of my life. And somehow, something happened that we have to change it by the cruel nature of the material energy. Of course, this is not material energy in Mother Yashoda's case, but something happened. What happened is the milk pan on the stove was boiling over. Milk was boiling over. So Mother Yashoda was in a dilemma. What should I do? So what would you do? What would you do? You have a Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, but then milk is boiling. This is also for Krishna. So you're like, what should I do? So Mother Yashoda she temporarily put Krishna, because you can see it, it's 3 steps just to move. So she put Krishna on the ground. This is in India, quite normal to put children on the ground or in some flat thing. In the West, we have is it soft? Everything has to be soft, and animals on the clothes, whatever, But in India, once we were in one place called Manali. This is in Himachal Pradesh. And this is, they have this hot springs. There's like a pool. They made a pool, and inside is like, I don't know, 40 degrees water. You go in here, you boil yourself, basically. It's very hot water. It's a natural water coming out of the ground. So, we went there like with great difficulties. So the parents came with a child, baby, and around the pool was all made of stone, simple stone, not like a little bit rough stone. Because this is where people, get wet, get out of the pool. And this family, they just put the child on his bed, on a stone, and it just went inside. I was thinking, my God, But then this is, in India, this is no problem, And this is, we see, Mataji, you're from India? Yes. This is no problem. And we see in Krishna also, when Mother Yashoda were working in the field, so Mother Yashoda thought, this is very hot, I'll put Krishna under the cart, because under the cart there's a shade, and she just put Krishna on the grass, Krishna was laying there, little baby. When this demon, Shakatasura, came. This is my favorite demon, because he has not done anything, and he was killed by fun. Completely innocent demon, I always thought, he has not done anything. Why, Remember I was reading, it was like, he has not done it. I was like, huh? He has not done anything, Yes, yes. Yeah. Anyways, in any case, favorite demon of all times. So she left Krishna on this little place, and she went to tend the milk to see what's going on. So, this is interesting here. Prabhupada says here as a purport, sometimes one must take care of more than one item of important business for the same purpose. You know, you have the same purpose to please Krishna, but she has the pot and she is feeding Krishna. Therefore, Mother Yashoda was not unjust when she left her son to take care of the overflowing milk. On the platform of love and affection, it is the duty of a devotee to do one thing first and the other things later. And how do we know this? What do we do first? Prabhupada's quote this famous verse 10:10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajati priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamu payanti te. Dadami, I'm giving buddhi, I'm giving the intelligence. To those who, translation, to those who constantly think of me, devoted and serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Krishna gives the understanding. How did Prabhupada know to go to America? This is always a question. Why didn't go to, I don't know, Australia? Because Bhaktisiddhanta said you should speak in English language. He could have think I should go to Australia. Of course, Prabhupada has a humorous reason. Anybody knows the humorous reason why Prabhupada went to America?
Was it not that some failed in
Yes.
England and he went there?
Prabhupada says, my godbrothers failed in London, in England, so let me fail in another place. This is the humility, of course, Prabhupada. But he was inspired by the Dami Buddhim Yogantam, inspired by Krishna to go to America. And we see that he was, on a boat, and when he had a heart attack, the avatars, Dash avatars and other avatars were rowing the boat. Imagine a big boat and all these Varahadev is rowing, and Kurmadev is rowing the boat. Pretty cool scene, I must say. Parashuram, very strong, rowing the boat. And so Krishna gave him intelligence. So Krishna, Prabhupada said, in Krishna consciousness, everything is dynamic. Krishna guides the devotee in what to do first and what to do next on the platform of the Absolute Truth. So Krishna is guiding us. As we spoke yesterday to Vinaya Mataji, who asked about if I worship Ladu Gopal, is this like is this bad, so I will not go to Goloka Vrindavan or something like this? And the answer was this: no, Krishna guides everybody. I quoted this song by the FC Liverpool, "You never walk alone," because Krishna is never let you walk alone. He always guides a devotee. So tesham satatam yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So Krishna gives the intelligence. So this is an interesting purport of Srila Prabhupada to this concept. Prabhupada says, a person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, means ISKCON in this case, but if he still is not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives the instruction so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. So we don't need to worry at all. Sometimes people say, my guru, I see my guru once every 3 years, from a 100-meter distance, and he, or some guru. I was watching this recently. Bhaktivedanta Swami gave initiation. He had around 10,000 people in Puri, something like this, and he gave a speech and he said, "I have to let you know how to apologize, something like this, that I have so many disciples now that I may not know your names." Imagine you have 10,000 disciples. Or Jayapataka Swami, he has 60,000. I think he's more than 60,000. I don't think anybody knows the number. Imagine 60,000 disciples. You cannot know everybody by name. But he's doing his best. They make photo of everybody, and they put him in the files. And every time he goes to a city, and they come all these files, all these people names. He's married. He has 2 kids. So you can at least see approximately who is who. But still, you cannot remember everybody's names. You cannot remember everybody's names. Meaning, if we don't have a personal association of our spiritual master, who, some devotees are lucky enough to be instructed by spiritual master directly. I want to do this, I don't like you to do this, I like to do this. But some devotees that just have general instruction. Like I know when I was living in America, many Prabhupada disciples never met Prabhupada really. Or some of them have never met Prabhupada. And some of them saw Prabhupada from a distance. And they got initiated by Prabhupada's disciples. Or they got initiated by mail. So they never actually seen Prabhupada. So therefore, and then even maybe attached to a spiritual organization, even, members of ISKCON. Somehow or other we feel like, oh, I don't get enough instructions, or ISKCON is not advanced enough, whatever we think, Still, Krishna see that this person is not intelligent enough, so therefore I will give him inspiration through the heart. So we should never worry that Krishna is not with us. Krishna is always with us. Always with us. The qualification, how can we be sure that Krishna is with us? The qualification is that the person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. So if you always engage in service, we have nothing to worry. Krishna will take care of everything. And if he cannot take care of it, he will let us know. I want you to do this, or I want you to do that. Krishna will take care. He will say through somebody, don't do it, or do it. As Prabhupada, some God brothers were thinking that Srila Prabhupada could have taken sannyas before he went to the West. And Prabhupada didn't want to, wasn't interested. And then in his dream, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati came. And this, I forgot his name, Prabhupada disciple, he said, Prabhupada told him personally that Bhaktisiddhanta said like this, come, take sannyas, with a hand motion, come, take sannyas. And Prabhupada woke up and he thought, horrible, I'm not going to take sannyas, I'm going to take sannyas. Next night, Bhaktisiddhanta, come, take sannyas, 3 times. After 3 times he thought, well, maybe my guru wants me to take sannyas. And he took sannyas. So, Krishna, Gadami Buddhim Yogantam Yena Mamupayantite. So, 8:40. Anyways, so that's what's going on right now. I will continue later on. How Mother Yashoda went to take care of the milk, and Krishna, was reacting in a certain way, and this would be the cause of a greater disturbance in the household. So this is all I want to say about this pastime at the moment. And the reason is, because we have a few more minutes, I would like to speak about Narottam Das Thakur. Today is Narottam Das Thakur's disappearance day. So if you have any questions or any kind of intelligent remarks regarding this pastime, yes. I'm sorry. No, not to Narottam Das Thakur.
One thing, when we had the question, actually the one that she asked about how can she assist Mother Yashoda.
Yes.
And Maharaj gave a quite long answer, also with the warning, which we should know. But I felt also that it's nice to have some
Sentiment.
sentiment like this. And maybe, of course, we will not think, oh, I will assist Mother Yashoda, but to follow this inspiration, right?
Yes.
So then I also asked Maharaj how to properly follow this inspiration. But maybe you can say something to this, because sometimes devotees think, oh, I'm just speculating, it's just mental speculation. And maybe yes, but maybe not. Maybe we are sometimes too quick to jump to a conclusion, oh, it's mental speculation, I cannot feel like that, oh, this is just for the advanced devotees. But from another point of view, very natural, very good when we feel more attracted to Krishna. But then we just have to progress in a
Healthy way.
healthy way.
It's great to feel sentiments towards Krishna. It's great. It's wonderful, actually. And again, I actually spoke about this a little bit yesterday, but a little bit. And but the point is that yes, Prabhupada says there, anybody who aspires to develop this Vatsalya rasa should meditate on Mother Yashoda, how she dressed, how she does things, and should read this pastime. So in the same way, anybody who wants to, who have developing desire in their heart, as we call it. I don't know how else to call it. Or at least let's develop desire. One should actually pursue it. And there's no harm if you, after all, our movement is green. Recently I had a discussion with a devotee, and he asked me, how can we, if we follow sadhana bhakti, how can we ever go to spiritual world or something like this? You know, if we are not developed. But my answer is that actually we don't, in reality, our sadhana bhakti is not sadhana bhakti per se. Yes, Vaidhi bhakti is actually raga bhakti in a green state, a green mango. Because what are we singing for Tulasi every morning? We don't sing, you know, please let me control my senses. We sing, please, what is it? Seva adhikara diya koro nija dasi. Please make me your own servant and make me qualified to enter the service of Shri Vrindavan Dham. Please make me one of the residents of Shri Vrindavan Dham. And what is it? A maid servant, Saki. Saki ranugata koro. The following the footsteps of Sakis, which means making manjari. So this is not exactly Vaidhi Bhakti song. So our songs are actually very, you know, how you said, spontaneous, raga songs. And therefore, we just have to come to the platform to actually realize this. Just like in the Vedas, it is described when the student is learning, when they're young boys in Gurukula, they learn Vedic mantras by heart. They don't know what that means, just learning. And then in time, the realization of this mantra manifests in their hearts, and they have the realization. So the same thing, we are doing exactly the same. We are saying, you know, Tulasi, you know, make me maid servant, make me Sakira Anugata Koro, residents of, we worship in Radha and Krishna. Of course, we have Nisima Deva here. But we worship, this is some serious audience here. We worship in Radha and Krishna, you know, Radha and Krishna, with the gopis. So we don't, this is not exactly Vaidhi Bhakti. You know. It's just the way we worship it to make sure that we don't speculate, that we don't manufacture anything in our mind. So we worship, Prabhupada said, in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan. Therefore we have everything clean, orderly. But in reality, this is a raga worship, spontaneous devotional service. Like, how did I come to this, actually? Yes, and we should, there's no harm in reading the transcendental literature left by the Goswamis, indeed. Indeed, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, we were speaking this the other day, there was, I cannot quote from where, but I read it at least a year ago, that he said, he was speaking about, you know, a little bit spontaneous devotional service or developing, you know, spontaneous devotional service. And he said, every devotee, every mat member who is more than 20 years should know these things. For me, this was not shocking, but kind of shocking. Because sometimes in ISKCON we have this like, no, this is forbidden. No, if it's forbidden, why do we have it? If it's forbidden, why did Prabhupada printed whole Chaitanya Charitamrita? He could have printed just taking the parts of, you know, Krishna's glorification of flute touching Krishna's lips. There's a whole verses in Radharani's Unmada madness and Bumblebee in the Srimad-Bhagavatam and the Rasa dance itself. Prabhupada printed Krishna book in 1970. Before, he had only Bhagavad Gita and Teaching of Lord Chaitanya thing. Two books or three books. And he printed a Krishna book with the Rasa dance in it. So obviously, you know, of course, the warning is to not take it cheaply and all these things. Therefore, we have gurus, we have senior devotees to guide us. We see we are on a trip. We walk like a little beard and we take a little tiffin, eating only like a handful. And you know, then you say, this is a trip, you know, you should cool down a little bit. But mostly, it is not forbidden to read this. And while reading this, we will actually develop desire to read more or to be like them. Actually, one part of it, let's jump a little bit into Narottam Das Thakur. One part of Narottam Das Thakur I wanted to read today is a song called Ragera Bhajan Pata Koyeba Abhimata. And this is a song of Narottam Das Thakur I wanted to read for the devotees because Kartik, I guess, is the time to read this thing. Narottam Das Thakur writes, I shall now describe the path of spontaneous love for Krishna, which glorified by the exalted devotee and the Vedic literature. By traversing this path of spontaneous love, one becomes a follower of the gopis and attains the perfect spiritual body of a liberated soul. So Narottam Das Thakur wrote these songs, and Prabhupada encouraged the devotees to read the songs. We have all these songs printed in the books. This is a book called Prema Bhakti Chandrika. I don't know who printed, but I remember this book is a long time already in print. So there is no harm in reading books of the Goswamis. There is no harm if in appreciating, because we think, okay, it's safe to appreciate Madhya Yashoda because she's, I'm not Sahajya, or it's safe to appreciate Cowherd Boys. It's already on the edge a little bit because they do some little crazy things. But to be a gopi, this is, don't tread there. Then what is the point of having it? And again, as long as we have a proper guidance. In Gaudiya Math by, I don't know the name, there's so many Gaudiya Maths, but the name of the Gaudiya Math, I think I don't know, it's Sridhar Swami's, Prabhupada's godbrother Gaudiya Math. But they don't read Sridhar Swami, Prabhupada godbrother, very learned and educated and pure devotee who has left the planet since. He said that one should not even read Srimad-Bhagavatam without permission of the Guru. So if you want to read Srimad-Bhagavatam, you have to ask permission of a Guru. Can I read Srimad-Bhagavatam? And then what to speak of other scriptures by Goswamis, we have to ask permission. Can I read this book? Can I read this book? And this, of course, this is a little bit extreme. But I'm saying, if we do this in proper way, I don't think there's any, I think it's very encouraging. Otherwise, we all want to go back to Godhead, do we? I mean, we are sitting here because we want to go back to Godhead. Isn't it? Or not? We are sitting because it's good thing to do. It's warm here and the waters are nice. Prasadam was wonderful, particularly yesterday. Breakfast. And so we all came here because we want to go back to Godhead. We want to, and what does that mean to go back to Godhead? Oh, I'll just chant and whatever happens. We want to go back to Godhead. Which back to Godhead? Which Godhead? So it is described that different rasas, and particularly our Sampradaya offers this, rasa, Ujjvala rasa between Radha and Krishna. So this is the back to Godhead we want to go. So there's no harm in learning about this, reading about this. Again, as long as it is in a healthy way. So this is the second verse of the Narottam Das Thakur. I shall now describe the most important of Srimati Radharani's gopi friends. Lalita, Vishaka, Suchitra, Champakalata, Rangadevi, Sudevi, Tungavidya, and Indulekha are the 8 most important gopis of Srimati Radharani. Preshta Sakis. These are the 8 most. Her other gopi friends are divided into groups of Narma Sakis, Priya Sakis, and Preshta Sakis. All these gopis constantly render loving service to Srimati Radharani. I just read this. It doesn't mean, no, you don't need to remember. I will not remember, but it's out there. Equal affection for Radha and Krishna, or more affection for Krishna than for Sri Radha, do not become attached to that. So Narottam gives instruction now. If you are equally attached to Radha and Krishna, or if you are more attached to Krishna, don't do it. This is not our Sampradaya. This is interesting, because we are all Krishna, Bhagavan in India. Particularly they have a song, I don't want to sing, but there's a local song in Vrindavan. The Krishna, please Krishna, Radha, please call your Krishna, I want to have a darshan of Krishna. So this is, according to this, incorrect. So therefore we should not listen the village songs unless we know what it means and unless we know that they're actually correct. I don't want to say philosophically correct, but theologically correct. And this is the theology we follow. That Narottam said, I will just speak about preference for Sri Radha. So our preference is Sri Radha. not affection to more than Krishna, than this. So this is the Shri Rupa Manjari, Shri Rati Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Manjulali, Shri Rasa Manjari, Shri Kasturi Manjari, and many more are eagerly and lovingly serving Srimati Radharani. I am the follower of all these gopis. I shall serve them with great love. I will complete and understand their orders, even when couched in casual hints or gestures. I shall become immersed in wonder at their transcendental virtues and beauty, and I shall dearly love them. I shall always remain in their company. So this is the, you can say, mood or meditation. These gopis who are actually very dear to Krishna, and these manjaris, which are most intimate servants of Krishna, of these gopis actually. So Narottam Das Thakur said, I want to be their servants. And this is the mood of a devotee. As Prabhupada quoted many times, Gopi Bhartur, Padakamalayur, Dasa Dasa Dasa, with a servant of the gopis, or the servant of the gopis. So this is our, you can say, aspiration. This is what we aspire for, to be the servant of this Kasturi Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Rasa Manjari, and so on. And he said, I will love them and I will do anything they tell me. You know, spiritual world is not like you wake up and tell person tell you something, it's like, not today. Not today, or you just do it with, you know, as we call it, cutting corners. We don't cut corners in spiritual life. Here, the Narottam Das Thakur in his Gopi form, he doesn't cut. He's actually, you know, anybody knows the name of Narottam Das Thakur Manjari? Yes. His name is Champakalata, because he is assisting Champaka Manjari. In his service is, oh man, what is his service? To make something like tea or something, to cook, or something to cook for Radha and Krishna. It's a nice service. So he said, I always want to be with this, and I don't want to see anything else. I don't want to hear anything else. I just want to be always in the company of these manjaris. And he would see a hint. You know, sometimes, you know, devotees are, you know, we sometimes not on this, how do you say, level, but this manjari is even hinting. Like, for example, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a very famous hint by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Sanatana Goswami came, and he was dressed as a mendicant, but he was wearing this very fancy chadar. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just glanced at chadar. He didn't say anything. He just looked at chadar, and that's it, once. And Sanatana said, oh my God, Chaitanya doesn't like my chadar. And he immediately went to the Ganga, and he exchanged the chadar with a very poor man. And he gave him this full of holes, old chadar, he took it. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Sanatana came back to Chaitanya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, very good. You don't have this chadar anymore. You gave up your last attachment in the material world. Chadar, you know. So whoever wears fancy chadar, you throw the chadar and you have no more attachments. No, this is not true. The point here is that Sanatana Goswami understood this little glance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So glance is very important. So, that treasure of pure love of God, for which I hanker while I follow the regulative practices of sadhana bhakti, I will attain when I have the spiritual body of a liberated soul. Actually, listen to this. Sadhana bhakti and prema bhakti are the same devotional service. Confirmation. You know, it's not like now we do sadhana, and then after we do this terrible, you know, horrible thing, now we are entering pure devotional service, which is like pleasant, you know, we just walk around. And actually, sadhana bhakti and prema bhakti, the same devotional service. Sadhana bhakti is the stage where love for Krishna is not fully ripened yet. Confirm what I said, mango. And prema bhakti is the same devotion where love for Krishna has reached the more mature, ripened stage. There is the description of devotional service. So it's not like we have to do something extraordinary, special. As we said yesterday, Krishna, when we are ready, Krishna will send us instructions through our spiritual master or through some advanced devotee, or Krishna will send internally a very dear servant of his, and this person will guide us. Do this or do that. I quoted from Bhagavatam yesterday how Gopakumar was sent by Srimati Radharani to Vrindavan, to earthly Vrindavan, because one Brahmana was ready to receive love of Krishna. So he went there and he told him, come, give him, instruct him how to do it. Has to be some insider to bring us in, just like anywhere else. So, Narottam Das said, I hope that I may attain the stage of spontaneous love for the divine couple in the town of Raja. I hope that I will be counted among the gopi friends of the divine couple. Here, this stage of Prema Bhakti is described in the following statements of Vaishnava literature. One should meditate on oneself as being the maidservant of the gopis, and in this way one will attain their mercy. The devotee should always think of Krishna within himself and should choose a very dear devotee who is a servant of Krishna Vrindavan. One should constantly engage in topics about that servant and his loving relationship with Krishna, and one should live in Vrindavan. However, if one is physically unable to go to Vrindavan, he should mentally live there. So I guess this is some kind of answer. We, after some time, as Prabhupada always said, we should not imitate, we should not speculate or become so-called sahaja, as we say. We should just honestly perform our devotional service, and with our advancement, the taste will slowly develop. And then you will have a taste suddenly for something you don't know why. Oh, I have a taste for this bhajan. I have a taste for this form of Krishna. I remember first time I was in Detroit, a temple, and there's 3 deities. Radha Kunj Bihari, very beautiful. Gaurita, I think, I'm not sure. And this, at the side, was the deity of Nataji, Gopal, the one lifting Govardhan Hill with this big head, black. And all the brahmacharis just did not look at, they just came in front of him. We were always chanting in front of him, and we were like, wow, it was such a cool. Everybody was so attracted by this deity, super attracted. So where is this coming from? Krishna inspired us through the heart to be attracted to this particular form. So when Krishna inspired us, to be to start reading about the cowherd boys, then this is very attractive to us. I was last year or something, we were in Switzerland in the house of Rohini Sutta Prabhu, as a famous Sankirtan devotee. And he has a big deities of Krishna, Balaram, and Subal. Huh? Oh, Shridam. This was his attraction. His attraction is to cowherd boys. So you cannot say, oh, you are not, this was in his heart. It manifests in his heart. So we should honestly do our service and wait until Krishna manifests in our heart particular taste. And meanwhile, we can read this and that. Is not forbidden. We should just not be, as we call it, on a trip. Haribol. As long darshan. As long as we are not on a trip, everything was going to be fine. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Narottam Das Thakur, maybe we speak a little more some other time about his life. It's a wonderful life full of prema, full of love for Krishna. And when he actually started the first official Gaur Purnim, Narottam Das Thakur in Keturi. And he is one of the first devotees who worship Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya told him to install 6 deities, 5 deities. He gave them the names of Radha and Krishna deities on this Mayapur festival. And one particular deity is a deity of me, Lord Chaitanya said. And Narottam said, how? I don't know, you don't have, nobody at that time worshiped God in time. And Lord Chaitanya said, in the barn, where the rice, this paddy, this unhulled rice, is in the barn, inside of the rice, there's my deity waiting for you. And everybody was afraid to go there because there's so many snakes, in there. So when Narottam went there with kirtan, the snakes immediately went away, and he found this beautiful deity of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And this deity is in the temple of this is Lokanath Goswami temple called Radha Vinod and Radha 10. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's in Radha Gokulananda. It's in Radha Gokulananda temple. When you go to Radha Raman temple, you turn left and you go a little bit another, not long, maybe 50 meters. And on the right side is some entrance. And this is Gokulananda temple. This is the temple of Lokanath Goswami, temple of deities of Baladevidya Bhushana, and these deities of the deity of Mahaprabhu. There's also there in this temple, there's a Shila, Shalagram Shila, where Lord Chaitanya gave to Raghunath Das Goswami. Lord Chaitanya would have a little Shalagram Shila, and he would always keep it on his head, or he would put it in his eye, Lord Chaitanya, and he would cry, and always, and there's a little thumbprint, because he would always, with a tear, he will, so there's a little bit thumbprint of Lord Chaitanya on this Shila. It's a Govardhan Shila. And he will send this to Raghunath Das Goswami to worship it. So this Shila is there, Narottam Das deity is there, so it's a very, very special place. And it's very humble place, actually. Not many people know. The tourists don't know, which is for us very nice. And also it's very caged up, so monkeys cannot attack you, and you can just peacefully chant and a whole day long. Yes?
Is it the place with the cows in the back and the samadhis to the left?
Yes, samadhi to the left, yes. With the old cage. This is samadhi of Lokanath Goswami. And Lokanath Goswami is an amazing personality, which we don't have time to speak about. Anyway, so this is one more day glorifying for Shri Vrindavan Dham and glorifying the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and Yashoda and Krishna. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Yashoda Krishna ki jai. Radha and Krishna ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.